Hi, welcome back to the channel. 2022 is halfway over, so that means it is time to do my mid-year book freakout tag. I cannot believe it is already July. I don't know where the time is going. I guess it's going into the books. Beats me, I don't know. But I think, for me at least, reading seems to make the time go by faster. Maybe that's not such a good thing, but at any rate, there are 13 questions in this tag, and I'm just going to get right into it because, you know, I ain't got a lot of time to dilly out. So question 1 is, what is the best book you've read in 2022? Well, I'm going to go with Near the Bone by Christina Henry. I absolutely love this one. I devoured it in 2 days, which is unheard of for me. And I loved everything about it. I loved the main character. I loved the villain. I loved the monster, even though we didn't get a lot of time or description about the monster. There was a lot of tense moments in this, and it gave me everything I want. It was a fast read, a good wintry read, and if you have not read this one, I highly recommend it. So question 2 is, what is the best sequel you've read in 2022? I don't usually read sequels. I do have one sequel that I plan to read in July. Other than that, I haven't read a single sequel this year, so pass. Question 3. What is a new release you haven't read yet but want to? Well, there are so many I could name for this one, but I'm going to go with Horror Hotel by Victoria Fulton and Faith McLaren. I love the cover of this book. It is so gorgeous. I love the skull coming out of the hotel, coming out of the building. It's a YA story. I'm okay with YA stories sometimes, and this is one I have to read at some point. Question 4. What is the most anticipated release for the second half of 2022? Well, again, there are so many I have on my list. You know, I don't really remember all of them, but I'm just going to go with Daphne by Josh Malerman. Now, I've become sort of a Josh Malerman fan. I have read Bird Box, Mallory, and Pearl, which I absolutely loved. So I'm just going to go with Daphne. It seems to be getting great reviews, and who doesn't love a good, I guess, urban legend slasher story? Question 5. What is your biggest disappointment you've read in 2022? Well, the one I've enjoyed the least for this year is Goddess of Filth by V. Castro. Now, this is one I've already gotten rid of, and no, I don't miss it at all. It was not good for me. I thought it was very poorly written, honestly. The characters were super flat, and I just didn't care. I mean, it did have a good message, you know, but I was not happy with that one. Question 6, biggest surprise of 2022. I'm going to go with A Slewfoot by Brahm. Sometimes I like books that are everybody's favorites, and sometimes I don't. So I really didn't know which way I was going to go with this one, but I love this story. I gave it 5 stars, and if you have not read this yet, I would definitely recommend it. It is set in 1666, and it is about a young woman named Abatha who, you know, the town kind of calls her a witch. Let's just say that. If you were into witchery tales, definitely read this one. Question 7. Who is your new favorite author? Well, I guess out of the ones I've read, I have read some of these authors before. So I'm just going to go with Christina Henry because I loved Near the Bone so much. I actually picked up The Ghost Tree by her, and I would like to read The Horseman, I think that's what it's called, by her, and maybe a few other of her titles because I really liked her writing style. I loved her author voice, and yeah, so I'm just going to go with Christina Henry. Question 8 is, who's your newest fictional crush? Now, I don't crush on fictional characters. I think this is kind of a weak question, but I'm going to go with all 4 boys from The Golden Boys. Yes, this is a YA LGBTQ+ story, And it is about four best friends in high school. It's the summer before their senior year, and they are all going off to different cities. They're leaving their Ohio small town behind, at least for the summer, and going off on their own adventures where they're trying to find their own way, find love maybe. And yeah, I really loved all four of these boys, and I can't wait to read the sequel for this whenever it comes out. So this is definitely one I'm going to read again. So last year when I did this tag, I was really brand new and I didn't like that last question, so I've made up my own question. So technically this tag for me is going to have 14 questions. So question 9, best villain or monster. And if you want to add this tag to yours, if you are a horror channel, definitely feel free to do so. But my favorite monster that I have read this year is going to be Pearl, from Pearl by Josh Malerman. This is about a telekinetic pig who is kind of psycho. So, I mean, I loved this story so much. It was in competition with Near the Bone to be my favorite for the year, but I think Near the Bone was just a smudge better. But I definitely loved Pearl, and if you are in for like, you kind of have to go into this one as like a horror comedy. If you do that, I think you will enjoy it. If you're going for straight horror and seriousness, you're not going to find that here. But if you are open-minded enough, definitely check Pearl out, because Pearl is psycho. So question 10 is, who's your favorite new character? Well, I originally picked Abatha from Slewfoot because she is fantastic. She doesn't take any flack from any of the Puritan Christian townsfolk. But, you know, this very last second, I changed it to Patrick O'Hara in The Guncle. Patrick is a middle-aged gay man who is a former celebrity who is entrusted to take care of his small niece and nephew for the summer after their mother passes away and their father is sent to rehab. And their father is Patrick's brother, so he has entrusted his brother to take care of his children. And Patrick, I loved him so much. He was so funny. And he talked to the niece and nephew like they were just like mini adults, and he would make up all these Guncle rules. And if you don't know what Guncle means, it's gay uncle. And so they call him Gup a lot, gay Uncle Patrick. And this is just such a cute story. I had to include it in this video because Patrick, I really loved him. He was such a good character. And yeah, so Patrick from The Guncle. Question 11, a book that made you cry. Well, I'm not very much of a crier when it comes to reading. I have mentioned before that I did cry during What If It's Us, which is a YA gay love story. And it's happened again this year, and it's another YA gay love story. And it is once again Golden Boys by Phil Stamper. Like I said, I was crushing on all four of these boys, and there were a few times actually that made me cry. So what makes me cry? It's like when it's a gay love story, and whether it works out for whomever or not, whichever way it goes, I'm like, oh no. I don't know. It just strikes a nerve in my cold little heart. I mean, it's good to feel emotions every now and then, right? So this book made me cry a few times, and I loved it, and yeah, that's all I need to say. Question 12, a book that made you happy. I decided to go with a non-fiction autobiography, and that is Yours Truly, Elvira, Memoirs of the Mistress of the Dark by Cassandra Peterson. Who doesn't love Elvira? This was a fantastic read, learning all about her childhood and growing up before she became a celebrity, traveling the world, becoming a celebrity, the trials and tribulations that come along with that. I really devoured this in no time, and I loved it. I love Elvira. Who doesn't love Elvira? I mean, come on. I came to her a little late in life because, you know, I grew up in the Bible Belt in the South, and, you know, a lot of Elvira's stuff wasn't around during that time, but I definitely recommend checking this one out if you are a fan. Definitely made me happy. Question 12 is, what's the most beautiful book you bought this year? Well, I could have gone with Slewfoot by Brahm because that is absolutely gorgeous, but you know, I've already talked about that one a couple of times on here, so I decided to go with Dagger Hill by Devin Taylor. Love the cover of this. Just take a moment and take it in. Yes. Anytime I get a chance to talk about Dagger Hill, I'm going to. This is very much in the vein of Stranger Things, and it is, I guess, a YA thriller, mystery, horror story. And it is about these 4 teens who it's the summer before their senior year, and they go up to their usual hangout spots. Well, this plane crashes from the sky and it injures all 4 of them. One of them is kidnapped by a man in a gas mask, and the rest of them are sent to the hospital, and they are trying to figure out what happened to their friend, what's going on with this man in the gas mask, and that's all I'm going to say. I love the cover of this one. Yes. Dagger Hill. The last question, question 14. What books do you want to read before the end of the year? Well, there are so many, and if you just watched my July TBR, I put some of these on there. So, but I also picked a couple that have been on the backlist on the bookshelves for a while. So I'm going to read Baby Teeth by Zoe Stage. Love that cover. I'm also going to read Bathhouse by PJ Vernon. Please. I've put this on several TBRs and I've yet to get to it. I think July is going to be the month though. And also for July, The Chain by Adrienne McKenty. And Unbury Carol by Josh Malerman. Like I said, I'm becoming a big Josh Malerman fan. I've had this for a few months. Love the cover of that one too. So that's it. Those are all the books that I love, didn't like, want to read, favorite characters, all that fun stuff. I'm really looking forward to the second half of 2022, getting to a lot more of the books that are on my backlist and trying to clear these shelves. I'm not going to get to clear all of them by the end of the year, but I will get at least a good 25 more done, believe me. I'm on a mission. So I can't wait to see if any of the ones I read in the second half of 2022 will bump some of these out of the way. Like, will anything top near the bone for me? I don't know. I'm interested to find out though. So in this tag, it's not a requirement to tag anyone. So if you have not done this yet, go ahead and do so. It's pretty fun. And I would love to know your answers to these questions as well. Don't forget to add the extra question if you want to. Who is your favorite new villain or monster? I would really love to know the answers to that one. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next one.